You know, the construction industry is incredible. It literally builds the world around us. But right now, it is facing a crisis so big, it could change everything. The workforce is just disappearing. And the solution isn't what you'd expect. It's not about more pay or better tools. It's something much more human. So let's break down what's really happening. This right here, this is the question. You can hear it on every single job site, from the smallest local contractors to the biggest firms out there. And this isn't just some small headache. We're talking about an existential threat to the industry. To really get why, you've got to look at the numbers.
So first up, the workforce is getting older. The average age is 42. Now, what that tells you is that the entire industry is leaning really heavily on a super experienced, but definitely aging, generation of skilled workers. And the scale of what's coming next, it's staggering. More than half, 53% of the entire workforce is on track to retire in just over a decade. This is not a slow leak, people. It's a tidal wave of talent and decades of knowledge walking right out the door.
And if that wasn't enough, here's the knockout punch. While all those veterans are leaving, basically no one is lining up to replace them. Fewer than 3% of young people today are even considering a career in construction. The pipeline is, well, it's pretty much dry.
So you see, the problem is actually twofold. It's not just about trying to attract new faces. The industry is also struggling, big time, to keep the skilled workers it absolutely cannot afford to lose. And the reason why has less to do with paychecks and more to do with the actual culture on the job site.
This quote from Dr. Sally Spencer Thomas, it just nails it. The hidden force driving this whole crisis, it's mental health. The stress, the burnout, it's pushing people out, especially the younger workers that the industry so desperately needs to attract.
And make no mistake, this isn't just a people problem. It's a massive economic problem. We're talking nearly $48 billion a year in lost productivity in the US alone because of poor mental health. That's a bottom line issue that no business can afford to just shrug off. And to solve this, we have to understand that there's been a fundamental shift. Younger generations, Gen Z and millennials, they're just wired differently. They have a completely new set of expectations for what a workplace should be.
Just look at the difference here. Older generations were all about that power through it mentality, right? Resilience wasn't really a choice, it was a survival tactic. But for Gen Z and millennials, the rulebook's been completely rewritten. They expect to be able to talk about mental health openly. They demand work-life balance. And get this, they will absolutely leave a higher-paying job for one that takes care of their well-being.
And this isn't just a feeling they have, their actions back it up. 37% of Gen Z have gotten mental health care. For them, seeking support isn't a sign of weakness, it's just healthcare, period. It's as normal as seeing a doctor for a broken arm. That's a massive cultural shift. So, here's the bottom line. The new workforce is looking for a totally different deal. They value things like predictable schedules, leaders who actually get it, and a culture where they feel safe and like they truly belong. These aren't nice-to-haves anymore. They're the essentials.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. This is where we pivot from the problem to the massive opportunity. For companies that are smart enough to adapt, this challenge becomes their single greatest competitive advantage for attracting the best people.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They're undeniable. A staggering 82% of workers say mental health support is essential when they're looking for a new job. And it's not a passive thing. Almost half of them have already quit a job for that very reason. And before they even think about applying, 3/4 of them are online, researching your company's culture. Your reputation for well-being is now your most powerful recruitment tool. And focusing on well-being pays off big time in retention too. The connection is so clear. When your people feel supported, they are twice as likely to stick around. In an industry that is hemorrhaging talent, that is an absolute game changer.
And it's not just about keeping people, it's about getting the best out of them. On average, workers say they're only operating at about 73% of their full potential because of mental health strain. Now, just think about that for a second. That's like 1/4 of your workforce's brain power and energy just left on the table every single day. All right, so how do you actually do this? How do you make this change? It's actually not as complicated as it sounds. We're going to walk through 5 concrete, high-impact actions that go way beyond just having some generic assistance program. But first, we need to get familiar with this word, presenteeism. You've probably felt it before. It's when you show up to work physically, but mentally, you're just not there. You're checked out because of stress or other issues.
And that leads to mistakes, to slowdowns, and most importantly, to serious safety risks. These next steps are all designed to fight presenteeism head-on.
Okay, here's the blueprint. First up, train your supervisors. They're your front line. They're the ones who interact with your team every day. Second, bake mental health right into your safety culture. Talk about it in your daily huddles. Make it clear that psychological safety is just as crucial as physical safety. Third, protect those work-life boundaries. Predictable schedules prevent the burnout that's driving people away. Fourth, build a network of peer supporters. This creates that sense of belonging that everyone craves. And finally, number 5, shout about all of this in your recruitment. Attract the right talent from the very beginning by showing them what you stand for.
And let's be crystal clear here. This isn't about being soft. This is about being smart. This is about retention, productivity, safety, and recruitment. In other words, this is business.
So it all comes down to this. The labor crisis is here. The workforce has fundamentally changed its priorities. The companies that are going to win in the next decade are the ones that build a true culture of safety, of belonging, and of genuine mental health support. So the only question left is your workplace built to win?